Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast.
Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to the latest edition of the PharmaSource podcast. And today I'm delighted to be joined by a very special guest, Nikki Whitfield, who's CEO of Upperton Pharma Solutions. We're looking forward to a great conversation today. Nikki, a very warm welcome to the PharmaSource podcast.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thanks for the opportunity.
Great, thank you. Let's start, Nikki, if we may, just if I could ask you to give a short introduction to yourself and also to the Upperton business. Give us a bit of an insight into what makes you unique for customers.
So I've been in the industry for over 30 years now, developing products right the way from preclinical through to pre-launch. I spent 17 years working for small and mid-sized pharma, developing sterile and non-sterile dosage forms. I'm a chemist by background, but I'm definitely a formulator by heart, and I'm passionate about drug development. I joined Quotient Sciences, so a CDMO, back in 2012, and had a great experience there working for so many different types of customers, helping them with their drug product development. So it was a real natural next step for me to become CEO of Upperton back in 2021. It's been an amazing journey. When I joined, we were, a really small organization, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to grow that business to where we are today. And we can go through that later. But one thing that throughout my career, I've really noticed is, there is a real need for CDMOs that are flexible and nimble, and really want to form long-lasting relationships with their customers. And, that's something that has been a real cornerstone for Upperton as we've grown. And I think it does make us unique. We're very science-led. We're an independent CDMO. And we work really hard to build these relationships with our ideal customers, which are small and mid-sized biotech and pharma organizations. But, for us, it's not a transaction. It really is a partnership. Our leadership teams sit on all of the project teams so that our customers know that their projects are a priority and, they have access to all levels of the organization. And I think that is our differentiator. We've built the footprint and have all of the process trains that, our larger CDMO competitors have. But I think what makes us really different is the relationships that we build with our customers.
Perfect. And congratulations, by the way, on all the progress and the growth since 2021. It's a really great story. And a point about the flexibility and being nimble and science-led, etc., that really comes through. So thank you. What about the main products and services that you as a business are investing in?
So 2.5 years ago, we took investment with a London-based PE firm called Inflection. And they really shared the vision that we had of building Upperton into, a full service CDMO. And over that time, we've grown from, about 35 people to over 100. And we've also built a brand new facility. So most of our investment over the last 2.5 years has been around that facility. It's 10 times the capacity that we had previously, and it's really specialized in delivering programs from preclinical through to registration and commercial. So lots of large scale solid oral dosage form process trains. And that's really important for our customers. We've always been able to support our customers through to phase 1 and phase 2. And this new site and new capability really allows them to stay with us and really work with the relationships that we've built and be able to take them, much further down the line to getting their products to market. So for us, that has really been the main investment that we've made, making sure that we've got the footprint, the equipment trains, and all of the people to support right the way through to that late stage of drug development.
Thank you. We're getting rapidly towards the end of 2024, another year that has flown by. How's the year been for you to this point? What are you focused on and excited about in 2025?
It's been an amazing year for us. So, we completed the build and obtained MHRA approval this year. So the new site is fully operational and up and running. And I think at the start of the year, we really wanted to address what we were hearing from our customers and also, is well known in the industry. And that's a gap for small scale sterile manufacturing. So the introduction of Annex 1, has really tightened the guidelines around sterile manufacturing. And, we know that there are often long lead times associated with being able to get in and manufacture small batches for phase 1 and phase 2. So in January of this year, we initiated a build of a sterile facility. We've now completed that build and we'll be starting commissioning really soon. And for us, it's a natural addition to our current capability. It reflects the types of customers that we work with that are, under a lot of pressure to get products developed, manufactured and ready for the clinic. And so working with, a CDMO that's really flexible and nimble and has a great facility aligned with regulatory expectations, we think that it's really going to add value to our customer offering. So it's been quite a year, with the non-sterile build complete and then starting on the sterile build. So, it's been an incredible year.
And looking forward to 2025, is there anything really significant to highlight as you look towards next year?
I think the bringing of the sterile unit online is going to be really good for us. We will be offering the traditional liquid formulations, but there are a number of formulations now that are powder related, and that does need additional considerations and additional expertise. So being able to handle sterile powders, and probably what we're really excited about is bringing aseptic spray drying online into the new facility as well. Lots of protein formulations requiring that dry powder format. We're really excited to be able to plug that gap. So that's going to be a real driver for us and a real uptick in our expertise next in 2025.
Fabulous. Nikki, you touched on it very briefly at the start, but tell us a bit more perhaps about your ideal customers as a business to work with. Is that driven by a particular phase of development or manufacturing? Is it kind of location based or specialism? Give us a bit more on that topic.
Yeah, it's really interesting and something that's really close to my heart. So we've built facilities and process trains, that enable customers to be able to make really large batches. But I think where the gap for our ideal customer is having an organization that understands the pressures that are associated with being a small or emerging biotech or small pharma. And those types of customers don't have, huge internal resources that can cover every base of development. So formulation development, manufacturing, analytical, regulatory, clinical. And we can offer all of that to those types of customers. And our values align really well with them, very collaborative, very science-led. And we really enjoy the passion that they bring for their molecules and their drug development processes and visions for their products in the future. So we form really tight relationships with those types of customers. Our project teams get really heavily involved in the science and get excited about the projects. And, this is what really drives Upperton, the ability to be able to work with, these innovative and really creative and committed organizations, and we can offer them, access to resources and expertise without them having to take it on internally. And, then when they move on to the later stages, we've spent those few years building those tight relationships. They trust us, and we can help drive their programs forward. So they're our ideal customer, just because we love working with those types of groups.
Yeah, you can really feel that the sense of collaboration and partnership is really strong. And the point you made earlier on about leadership teams sitting on project teams, there's a really deep understanding. Obviously, is very important. That's great. Shifting focus slightly, Nikki, the industry obviously now is very focused on reducing Scope 3 emissions. How are you supporting the drive to sustainability, and what's your plans in this area going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously share the industry's passion and understand how important all of these initiatives are. We're still quite early on in our ESG journey, and really needed the new site to be completed so that we could get a really good picture of our starting position. We're fairly advanced in our internal ESG initiatives, so looking at the workplace and the employee aspects. And we have a really good focus on that. And our Scope 2 emissions, we have a good plan in place. Now we understand the workings of our site. Our next stage is really to define how we handle the Scope 3 and start to look at our supply chain. So it's very much on our agenda. And once we really feel comfortable with the internal work that we're doing, we'll start looking externally to our partners and suppliers.
Sounds like a very sensible approach. Looking forward to 2025 and further, if you like, what's one market trend that you would say that our PharmaSource listeners and perhaps our CDMO Live attendees should be aware of as we look forward in this market?
I think the 2025 and beyond, customers are looking for something different from a CDMO. There's lots of choice, of CDMOs that have the same process trains, the same equipment. But I think customers want from their CDMOs more of a relationship and not a transactional relationship. They want to know that the CDMO can help them solve problems, technical issues as they come along, and really help them map out a pathway to commercialization. Customers are definitely looking for, they have their eye on the end goal very early on in development. They need to be able to show their investors that they have a pathway to commercialization that doesn't involve changing CDMO many times. So, for me, the trend is more around having a really strong partnership with a CDMO, and staying with that relationship and making sure that CDMO has the capability to take them right the way through.
Okay, thank you. And then final question, and an important one, and we've sort of touched on elements of this in the conversation before, but is there a specific piece of advice or guidelines that you would give to biotechs or pharma companies when partnering with a CDMO? Anything to look out for? Anything that you would guide based on your experience?
I've been on the other side of the table. I've led development projects with CDMOs. And in my experience, it all comes down to that relationship and the level of trust that you have in them. And that has to be there from the very beginning. It's very difficult to hand your baby over to somebody else to develop. And you want to know that they're going to take good care of it, that you're going to remain a priority within the organization. And you want to know that CDMO has the capacity to meet the speed at which you want to move, and has got the technical expertise to help you when you hit bumps in the road, because you will hit bumps in the road because it's early development. And you need a CDMO that can pivot with you and, really wants your project to succeed as much as you do. So for me, it would be always make sure that you've got, a really good team within that CDMO. You trust them, and that they've got your project on a really high agenda within the organization.
the really interesting point. I guess often you think about it from the biopharma company as you reach the point where you need to have that partnership, etc.
Yeah.
But as you say, there would be elements of that are difficult to hand
Yeah.
over. It's really, really interesting balance.
Yeah, it is. And you've worked on this project for probably years before it gets to a CDMO. You know, you've been through the candidate selection, or you've been through the asset acquisition. You know, you've been through your early trials and you've seen it hit a target. You're really passionate and emotionally connected to it. And you need to make sure that the team that you're going to work with to get it into the clinic and beyond share that same passion, and they're going to be creative and as innovative as you've had to be, to make sure that, you know, the best product goes into the clinic with the best chance of success. And you only know that once you start really working with people and, you know, you hit your first bump in the road, and how they respond to that and work with you through that tells you everything that you need to know about what's going to happen further down the line. But yeah, it's, you know, having done it is hard, because, you know, you've got to rely on people that you don't directly manage.
Yeah.
And you're not there every day. You're relying on them to do all that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously it's a partnership that is just so integral to the industry that we work in. Absolutely. Nikki, that's all we've got time for today, sadly, but it's been a fascinating conversation. Thank you very much for your insights and for sharing your experience. And also, you know, going back to what we said earlier, congratulations on all of the progress and growth in Upperton since 2021. We look forward very, very much to hearing more from you and the business at CDMO Live in Rotterdam next May.
Yep.
But for today, thanks ever so much. And it's been great having you as a guest on the podcast.
Thanks so much, Chris. Thank you.
Experience the future of contract manufacturing at CDMO Live 2025. Join us at the World Trade Centre Rotterdam on May the 7th and 8th, 2025, for an exclusive event that brings together the sharpest minds in biopharma outsourcing. For 2 days filled with market insights, best practices, and partnering. Early bird tickets are now available, so head to cdmolive.com to download the agenda and to book your ticket.